prophecies and conspiracies. Peering into darkness is what we do. Derek and Sharon Gilbert break it all down for you.
Welcome to the program. I'm Derek Gilbert.
I'm Sharon Gilbert, and we want to welcome you to our home once again.
Yes, we are into the month of December for 2025 already.
When did that happen? No, that didn't happen.
While we were sleeping.
We went through a portal of some kind, I'm pretty sure.
Is likely true. And as we know, if you've read our book, The Gates of Hell, which is now available, by the way, as an audiobook, you know that there are such things as portals.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us. And please, if you haven't already, download our free mobile app that brings all of our content to you as we continue to the best of our ability bringing content to the app. You'll find it for iOS, Android, and Amazon Kindle Fire devices. You can go to your app store and just look up the Gilbert House app or find the links at gilberthouse.org/app.
We're everywhere. And if you noticed, we did not produce a new PID radio last Saturday. It is because we were still vacating, staycating,
yep.
Whatever it is, because of Thanksgiving. And we pray that you had a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Indeed. There are many things for which to be thankful, and we are truly thankful for you. We've been doing this for 20 years, and I know
going on 21.
Yeah, so some of you have been with us since the very beginning, the first episode of PID Radio in March of 2005, and been through various moves and changes as we have moved our portable bunker from place to place over the last almost 21 years. And, the life has taken some interesting twists and turns. We'll talk about some of those at the end of this episode with the Old People Report, and then also share some things that are going on today with us. And so, kind of a bittersweet thing that's going on today. We'll talk about that at the end of the program.
We will, but in the meantime, news is all over the world, believe it or not. There is more than just one or two stories. There are lots of stories out there, and one of them I'm going to start with because I tend to look at outbreaks across the globe. Mm-hmm. And Marburg virus has been in Ethiopia now for about a month or more. And it's very difficult to get any information about it. When I go to look at the various outbreaks, the stories, I follow a lot of sources for that. And what I primarily get are avian flu stories. And most of them are relatively minor. Dead bird found in, whatever town. Another flock have been declared, and oftentimes it's a backyard flock. We've had a few cases of human avian flu virus, but that's rare. That is very rare. Mm-hmm. What we do have is a Marburg outbreak in Ethiopia, and currently, I've had to dig for this, 13 confirmed cases following about 150 people who are contacts, and 8 deaths. 8 deaths out of 13 confirmed cases. 8 known deaths.
Yeah.
I will say that because some of the places where these viruses break out in parts of sub-Saharan Africa, they are very small, and sometimes they don't report them because there are some people there that don't trust healthcare providers.
No, that's true, and that makes things difficult. In some cases, they've got some good reasons to be suspicious of the motives of
We've talked about that
Western health officials.
Yeah,
but,
what's in that jab? Kind of
exactly, yeah. And we over the years, we have talked about those things and how, sadly, people in Africa have sometimes been used for experiments without their knowledge.
Testing grounds, yeah.
Yeah, without their knowledge or consent.
Well,
but
in fact, we're going to get that because there is a vaccine for Marburg that has not been approved,
right,
but it's going to be trialed. They're going to try it out in Ethiopia.
Yeah, this is according to statnews.com that they are looking at testing this out in Ethiopia. Ethiopia considering the experimental vaccine.
Yeah, what they may do is possibly give it to the contacts they're following. They may also do the traditional ring vaccination, where you have your hot spot and then you vaccine the areas around it.
Right.
So
yeah.
that you try to stop it. It's like a fire break.
Mm-hmm. They've agreed to conduct phase 2 trials of an experimental vaccine. The Washington-based Sabin Vaccine Institute has sent nearly 650 doses of its experimental Marburg vaccine to the country. And again, they're still saying 13 confirmed cases, 8 of which have been fatal, which is pretty typical of the case fatality rate for Marburg. Marburg is an extremely dangerous virus, even more so than Ebola.
Much worse. It can be 80-85% fatality rate.
Yeah, it's a hemorrhagic fever like Ebola. Ebola has gotten more news. There was the big outbreak in 2014, which prompted your book, Ebola and the Fourth Horseman of the Apocalypse.
Yeah.
But Marburg is more deadly.
By far. Yes, more deadly. And it is, like I said, it's very difficult to get stories on it. So I'm continuing to watch it. If something comes up, if you follow me on X, I share all of those stories there. Occasionally you'll get a great puppies video or something like that to help with your scrolling.
Palate cleanse.
Palate cleanse, yeah.
And by the way, if you're interested in following either of us on X, you can find the links to our X accounts in the show notes below. So our X accounts and our Substack account, if you want free excerpts from our books. Uganda and Kenya are also in phase 2 trials for the Marburg vaccine.
Well, I think it's because don't they share borders with Ethiopia?
I'd have to look at a map, but I will do that very
Uganda
quickly.
does.
I think, let's do a very quick search here. Map Africa. Like most Americans, we're very typically ignorant of the geography of other.
By the way, the Democratic Republic of Congo has declared their most recent Ebola outbreak over. Now,
Kenya does
share a border?
Yeah, but Uganda does not. Kenya borders Ethiopia. It's south of Ethiopia. Uganda is just west of Kenya.
Okay.
But it does not have a border with Ethiopia. Now, to the west, Ethiopia is bordered by Sudan and South Sudan.
Oh.
And both of those countries are just really dysfunctional right now, where if the virus were to break out there, the health infrastructure is practically non-existent.
Where in there is Nigeria?
Nigeria is on the west side of Africa.
Okay. Oh, it is in West Africa.
So Ethiopia is East Africa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I ask is because, of course, there are terrible things going on there as well.
Yeah.
Nigeria, you continue to see Christians being kidnapped and killed. Mm-hmm. But that also has been going on over the last couple of decades in Sudan. It
has. Yeah. There are a lot of places in this world where Christians are being not just persecuted, but violently persecuted. Mm-hmm. I mean, here in the West, we're seeing Christian pastors being arrested for refusing to use, proper pronouns, or refusing to,
or saying hurty words on social media.
Right. Yeah. In the UK, but also in Canada, where a pastor was just arrested. In fact, the fellow who was recorded the video that got shared to social media about the pastor's arrest. I recognized his voice, and sure enough, it was Artur Pawlowski, who was arrested for not closing his church during COVID.
Yes, I do
remember. Back in 2021. We met him at the 2017 True Legends Conference.
Oh, my goodness.
He came up to our table and introduced himself to us.
Boy, that feels like 2 lifetimes
forever ago. Yeah, I know. We met him, and then we didn't stay in touch. And, he said he'd been following our Bible study, I guess, or PID radio, one or the other, which was kind of astonishing. It's like, yeah, how do you know who we are?
I know.
And then he's the one who really made a stand for the faith.
Yeah.
during the COVID lockdowns.
And it's a little tougher, I think. That was tougher in Canada. We have good friends who are pastors that did not close their churches at all here in the United States. I won't name who they are because we don't know. We don't have their permission to do that. But we have known of pastors that just said, no, we're not going to do that. But I will say this, that given the regulations that we're seeing in the World Health Organization, changes to the International Health Treaty, things like that, and the constant drumbeat of avian flu.
Yeah.
I mean, it is everywhere, and a lot of those stories are just, it's like, why is this a breaking news thing? I think that they're trying to tell us something. When they're saying there will be an outbreak, then believe them.
Yeah. And we'll say again that you've been tracking this sort of thing since we got married and even before.
Since the late 80s.
Yeah. Some of our first interviews on PID Radio back in 2005 were with Dr. Henry Nyman, whose specialty is studying how viruses recombine to gain function, how that happens in the wild, not how it happens in the lab. So this is not something we're coming to late. Sharon, this is her area of expertise, interest, and study as a molecular biologist. So when she speaks, it's with some frame of reference as to the science and what's going on here.
Yeah.
Which is why back in 2021, when you were one of the first, if not the first, that I had ever heard say when President Trump announced.
Yeah,
so this is not
Operation
a political
Warp
thing.
Speed.
When President Trump announced Operation Warp Speed on Sci Friday back in February of 2021, you were saying this is not going to work because the virus, being an RNA virus, will mutate faster than they can keep up with, regardless of what kind of vaccine they're trying to make. But the fact that this is an mRNA vaccine is doubly concerning because it's never been approved for human trials, much less widespread rollout.
The science had been around for a while, a few decades.
Right,
and when I was at IU studying molecular biology, they said no, that it would never be approved because it was dangerous.
Yeah.
And until it could be proven safe, it would not be approved. But of course, there was no approval process.
Yeah, and it got rolled out. And now they're admitting, the FDA just admitted this past week, that children died from the vaccine. In fact, let's see if I can find the story here, but the head of the FDA vaccine safety division at this point is saying that it's awful to admit, but it appears that we harmed more children than we saved by approving this vaccine for use in children.
Yeah. Also, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has been trying to get the requirement for very young children, as young as toddlers and even infants, to receive the hepatitis vaccine. His position is that it does more harm than it does good.
Yeah.
That the incidence of being exposed to hepatitis is rare enough that you don't want to get it. It can be I've had friends who had hepatitis B. They got over it. It can, in some cases, damage your liver more long term. But by giving the vaccine, and it's a series of 3, at least it was for me. When I was in healthcare, I had to take it. You want to keep working here, you have to take it. I went ahead and took it. And I will say this, it was after that, don't know if it's connected, but it was after that I developed fibromyalgia. I do not know if it was causative. All I'm saying is that's when I noticed it.
Yeah,
now,
proximity does not necessarily mean causality. Yeah.
No, I'm not blaming it on that. But I do think that children should only get a very few, And some of them are multivalent. In other words, one shot carries a vaccine for multiple diseases.
Yeah.
I think that's just ate up. My niece would say that's ate up in the head, and I love that. Ate up in the head ism.
Yeah. It's Dr. Vinay Prasad, whose name I was trying to remember. He's the director of the FDA's vaccine division, and he wrote, and I quote, "This is a profound revelation. For the first time, the U.S. FDA will acknowledge that COVID-19 vaccines have killed American children." This was based on a detailed analysis of deaths voluntarily reported to the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System. Took place over many months, and they found 96 deaths that occurred between 2021 and 2024 and said that no fewer of 10 of them were caused by the vaccine. So, and he said, if anything, this represents, or he wrote, I should say, if anything, this represents conservative coding where vaccines are exculpated rather than indicted in cases of ambiguity. In other words, if it wasn't absolutely clear that it was vaccine related, they ruled it out. So he said the real number is higher, but they're only admitting to minimum of 10, perhaps more. And that's really remarkable because we remember during the Biden administration, we were told not to question the science.
I know.
Trademark. Because it was not questioning. I mean, science is all about questioning.
Exactly. It always begins with an observation that leads to a question that leads to more observations and more questions. Mm-hmm. Sadly, that's kind of changed.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hopefully we will be more judicious going forward. This may just be a brief window of reprieve in the, let's say, we'll call it the vaccine industrial complex.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of money to be made in these vaccines.
Yeah.
We saw, as we talked about over the past few years, Moderna, Pfizer, even Johnson & Johnson, but especially Moderna and Pfizer, made tens of billions of dollars.
Yeah, and those were tax dollars because they came from our government.
That's right. The government funded those vaccines, and in many cases, then we would go get the free vaccine because I say we as a population, Sharon and I did not get vaccinated.
No, we did not.
And again, it was because of Sharon's background. I mean, if I wasn't married to you and I was looking at the corporate media and getting the programming from the corporate media that nope, safe and effective, safe and effective, safe and effective, we have family members who took multiple jabs, the jab and the booster, because that was the information that was available to them. But because of your background, I mean, you can go too far in the other direction and just say everything that the health bureaucracy tells us is wrong.
I know.
And that's going too far. But it's difficult then when you're in the middle ground trying to sort information out and determine what's true. Well, thankfully, and I'm thankful for this, your biology background has served us well. And I hope that we were able to help some people. And I know there's some folks who have sent us emails saying, because of what you said on Sci Friday, we did not take the jab.
Oh, we're so grateful for that. And we're most of all grateful to the Lord because He has given us free will. And it's difficult to make some of those choices. They're not salvific. In other words, your salvation isn't predicated upon a choice about a particular medical treatment or prevention. But there are things that we can do for our family that can help our family to stay healthier. Right. Whether you choose to say yes to it or no to it. Yeah. Depends on the circumstances. But let's pivot.
Well, while we're on World Health Organization, you want to talk about?
I was going to go there.
Okay, excellent.
Pivot to World Health Organization and also the EU. EU's going digital ID craziness. Right.
This is a side by basically these are parallel stories.
They are with the World Health Organization with these new IHR,
International Health Regulations.
No. The amendments. That's the word I wanted. Yeah. With these, one of the pandemics can be an infodemic.
That is correct. And in a document that was published in October's Bulletin of the World Health Organization, funded by the Gates Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Remember we got a Sci-Friday episode pulled because we mentioned Bill Gates' support for exactly this, which we are about to discuss?
I know.
Because...
Which is why you need to download our app, seriously, because the discussion Derek and I are having now, I don't think
4 years ago
it wouldn't get pulled now, but
yes,
at some point in the future, they will pull it.
Yeah. 4 years ago, this would have been been pulled.
4 years hence, it could be pulled. We don't know.
Anyway, the WHO is proposing a globally interoperable digital identity infrastructure, basically a global ID that permanently tracks every individual's vaccine status from birth.
That is exactly right.
From birth.
Well, let me also add that from birth, we're seeing in some countries, and I won't say specifically that the United States is on board with this, but it wouldn't surprise me. DNA is collected.
Yeah.
Facial recognition is started to collect it.
Mm-hmm.
Any biometrics will be collected. Those will all go into your little ID. It's the little ID that I put in your hand.
Yes,
or
exactly.
your forehead.
Exactly. It is what could be a prototype of the mark. This system would integrate, and this is a summary of what's actually in the World Health Organization document, integrates personally identifiable information, perhaps biometrics.
Mm-hmm. But possibly the way you write, that's something that can track you.
Yep.
You know, the way you spell, the way you talk.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you and I
gait,
have. Yeah.
The way you walk.
A lot of things, yeah. GAIT.
Yeah, yeah.
Your gait right now is kind of stompy, but you know.
It is, yeah, because of the drop
really
foot.
great stomping into Woodside Way.
Or doing the Bristol stomp.
Yeah.
When I was out in Philadelphia, I actually, was at a charity event with the Dovells. If you're old like us and you remember that song from the early 60s,
yeah.
Everybody's doing it. The Bristol Stomp. It was a kind of a regional hit out in the Northeast, but I actually got to meet those guys and heard them sing it live. So what a great song. Anyway, Glory gets a little frightened when I start stomping around.
Yeah.
She goes and hides in the crate. Anyway, the World Health Organization proposal would integrate this personally identifiable information, maybe your fingerprint, your again, biometric data, whatever, with socioeconomic data, such as household income. Why would they need to know that? Ethnicity, religion. Why would they need to know that? Mm-hmm. It would deploy artificial intelligence for, quote, identifying and targeting the unreached, end quote, and, quote, combating misinformation, end quote. Mm-hmm. Now, again, why would you need this on your personal ID system?
Because it's all about control.
It's all about control. It would enable governments to use vaccination records as prerequisites for travel, for education. Sorry, you can't come to school, Johnny, because your parent wouldn't let you get the jab.
Mm-hmm. We're
All
really
your friends
sorry.
have the jab. Don't you
sorry,
want to
sorry, Mrs. Jones, Mr. Jones, but we noticed that you're taking Bobby to this church that preaches hate, so we're going to take Bobby away from you.
Yeah, this puts the dis in dystopian.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about all kinds of mission creep here because governments, if we learn nothing from history, one of the takeaways is that governments always look for ways to increase their control over its citizens.
Do you know that I think it's in the UK that either the UK or Canada, both, of course, part of the Commonwealth, that after 12, parents will no longer be automatically allowed to see their children's medical records.
Where was this again?
I think it's in the UK or Canada. Let me look that story up.
I saw that story.
I
saw that story. It's actually an insurance company here in the United States
They won't share the medical, but
Yeah,
they'll
well,
bill
let
them.
me check that.
You better.
Medical records after age 12. Yeah, I think that I thought that was an insurance company here in the United States. Federal HIPAA laws and state variations limit parental access to sensitive information like mental/sexual health after age 12.
It's also, I think, going after those who, frankly, want to abort children and not have the parents know
Yeah.
about it, and perhaps starting to take hormones for a particular reason. It's a way of hiding activity that a 13-year-old is engaged in from mom and dad. Mom and dad
Yeah.
are the ones that are trying to instill values in their kids. But if a 13-year-old can do whatever he or she chooses,
Yeah.
and mommy never knows, and dad has to pay,
It's an article by a columnist in an online site called Grand Rapids Kids. So this is from Michigan.
oh, and here's this misleading social post claims that BJC,
Yeah.
Blue Cross.
BJC is Barnes Jewish.
Oh, that's
Children's.
right. Oh,
That's the big hospital network in
revokes
St. Louis.
parents' access to kids' medical records. That's interesting.
I think that was a story I saw.
Now it's saying that it's misleading.
Yeah.
It's been
But this columnist in the Grand Rapids
coming right out and saying a big old misleading stamp over top of it.
columnist wrote, columnist's name is April Hunt. I was shocked when I suddenly couldn't access my 12-year-old daughter's medical records via my hospital account.
This is in St. Louis. This
Okay,
story
well,
I'm looking at.
Yeah, this is from Grand Rapids, Michigan. We were pretty sure she had coronavirus, and I wanted to access her test results as soon as they came in. But because she was now 12, she had to create her own account with any doctors in Grand Rapids. And the columnist writes, "What?" 2 question marks. The 6th grader, who could barely navigate turning in homework on time, told me to set up the account for her and save the login myself. She has zero interest in dealing with medical records, but apparently 12 is the age that a child can start managing their own medical information.
According to BJC, parents and guardians who enroll a child before the child turns 12 have full proxy access. When the child is 12, the access automatically changes to limited proxy.
That well, again, that seems really
HIPAA is a big thing, and I don't know if every country I'm sure that most countries have something like this, but it's supposed to protect your medical records. But the fact is that there have been organizations. I remember on an early PID radio, you and I talked about a third-party company that was run by a fly-by-night guy that had access to all medical records for a particular chain of hospitals, and it was huge.
Yeah.
In fact, this may have been about 2014. It was about the time of Ebola. And you and I were talking about this guy being discovered that he actually wasn't doing these things. He claimed that he was keeping them safe in a lock box, but no, they weren't. They weren't.
Saturday Night Live sketch with the character playing Al Gore talking about putting all the money for Social Security in a lock box. I'm looking at St. Louis Children's Hospital, which is part of the BJC system.
Yeah.
And on their website, it basically said, you're probably aware your child's 18th birthday is a significant milestone and that an important lifestyle change will come alongside with those celebrations. Who has access to their medical records and makes decisions about their health care. But then skipping down, it says, once a child turns 12, state and federal laws prohibit their parents from viewing designated pieces of medical information without their child's consent.
Exactly. It says
I
here,
was not aware of this.
Well, me neither. And of course,
yeah,
well,
we
it
don't have
says
any
here if you
grandchildren
set up an account before they turn 12, you have limited access. But if it's after they're 12, they have their own account.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know that this is actually misleading, this article.
No, it sounds to me like somebody's being misleading and calling it misleading.
Yeah, well, that's just this misinformation, information pandemic, an infodemic. This is part of the amendments to the IHR, the International Health Regulations.
And yeah, you can bet that they're trying to take parental rights away. Mm-hmm. And when I say they, I mean globalists.
The global system, exactly.
Right. And Hillary Clinton, it takes a village sort of mentality.
But remember, Derek and I, the whole thing is PID, is peering into darkness. We're looking at the spirits, those shadowy figures in the other realm, that unseen realm, that are working against humanity, and they're using humans to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, human agents who may not even be aware that they're serving the fallen realm.
And some may be aware of it.
Some may well be. Yeah, this is disturbing because we know that there are some states now that are trumpeting the fact that they are, safe havens, or what's the word I'm looking for? Sanctuary states for children who want to change their gender. And of course, changing the gender is not possible.
No, I'm sorry, but you're still an XX and an X or an XY.
Right, except in very few rare genetic
and that's
anomalies.
extremely rare.
And it's extremely rare, less than half of 1%.
Yeah.
So, for the vast majority. And, what's interesting is that and I think this is really interesting, is there anything President Trump can't do? With the temporary shift, and I say temporary because I think the weight of change is going to continue pushing in this direction. There are still those in education who are still pushing the alphabet agenda on our children and grandchildren. There's a temporary reprieve with President Trump and a return for the time being to sanity when it comes to the gender issue, that the number of children who are expressing their gender as, claiming that they're gender dysphoric.
Or that they're an animal.
Yeah, right. Has dropped sharply over the last year.
Yeah, because it's no longer cool.
It's no longer cool, which says that it's not really an internal thing. Gender is not something that is assigned at birth.
No. You
are what you are. And there are various ways of expressing that. I mean, you get guys who, like a President Trump, he's definitely an alpha male. Mm-hmm. I am not an alpha male, and I've learned to become okay with that. There are roles for all of, betas, gammas, deltas, whatever we are.
Oh, yeah.
There are roles for us to fill. Find who you are and be happy in that. But it doesn't mean if you are unhappy that it's because maybe I'm a girl, maybe I'm actually the fourth moon of Jupiter. Who knows?
Here's the thing. We were knitted together by the Lord in our mother's womb.
Yeah.
He knew what we would be and what we would choose long before he even spoke the world into existence. He knew everything we would do. And we still have free will.
Yeah.
And he created each one of us uniquely. Each one of us has a unique job within the world system, a unique ministry. The whole thing of, okay, I want to be a hand and not this or that. Every bit of your body is important. Mm-hmm. Every part of the body of Christ is important.
Right. We are not all called to be heads, brains, fists.
Well, the head is the Lord.
Well, yes,
the rest of the body, we are, some people are feet. Some people are hands.
Right.
Some people are gallbladders,
And some just want to be the appendix.
Exactly. Donna Howell, that's all she wanted to be.
Was the appendix,
I'll tell you, the appendix and many parts of the body are filters. Very important filters for dangerous things.
Yeah. Well, boy, I'll tell you what. I don't think Donna's an appendix. Anyone who saw her at the Remnant Rising Conference
I know.
in Springfield, if you've not seen that, they've put some clips from her presentation on the Donna Howell Show Facebook page and the Skywatch TV Facebook page where she's preaching. She followed Mondo de la Vega.
Who was amazing.
Yeah, who is amazing. Yeah, his story of how he was transformed from being a gangster in Los Angeles and being saved by the gospel. I mean, from gangster to gospel is just amazing. And the audience there was just wowed, like, wow. I mean, this could only be divine, Holy Spirit intervention to save this guy from, Mondo would be dead.
Yeah. You need to read his book,
Yeah.
My Crazy Life.
Crazy
You really
Life.
need to.
But the only one who could have followed Mondo was Donna.
Amen.
Because if anything, Donna took it up a whole nother level from there. And
She is her father's daughter.
she is. Tom was an amazing preacher. Donna was incredible. And
Donna is incredible.
she is.
She's
So
so good. If you're not watching the Donna Howell Show, why not?
you really should. And for that, we encourage you to get the Skywatch TV app, or, like the Gilbert House app. It's available for Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Google TV, Android TV.
Totally free.
So go to the app store of your choice for your smart TV or set-top box. Find the Gilbert House app, find the Skywatch TV app, find the Prophecy Watchers app. Add those to your TV. And then you make sure you're watching Donna, because she does some fantastic preaching, but she also brings on some great guests. And for one who, again, just wanted to hide in the corner and just, I'll quietly sit back here and I'll do some research for Dad, and I'll do some, maybe ghostwriting.
I know.
And when she gets out there and preaches, she is fantastic.
Well, I can hear the dogs sort of moving around the crate, so I don't know how long we've been going.
About
But
35 minutes.
okay, well, they're moving around early. They usually
Yeah.
go about 50 minutes before they get
I
restless.
wanted to touch on something because it relates to reading and research that both of us have been doing. And that is the impact of Islam on the West.
I was just about to bring that up. And I was going to introduce it by talking about the book that you're writing. And it's actually book one of a 2-volume set.
Yeah, thanks
that
to
you're
your
gonna,
idea.
Well,
Yeah.
you were just, there was no way you were going to cram all the stuff into the last few chapters that you needed to. So you needed a second book. But you and I both been reading Raymond Ibrahim's books.
Yeah.
Defenders of the West is great. The one I'm reading right now, and I just about finished with, is the
The Two
Two Swords of Christ.
Yeah, that is a brand new release, just out about a week and a half now.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah, it's available in
so good.
hardback and also on Kindle.
Yep.
I've had Raymond as a guest on A View from the Bunker several times. Had him come on 5 and 10 a number of times as well. And yeah, I'm going to have to read through this. And also Dr. Mike Spaulding's new book on supersessionism or replacement theology, because they kind of go hand in hand.
They do.
But The Two Swords of Christ is about the Knights Templar.
The Templars, the Hospitallers, the St. John, well, they were the Hospitallers. There was a German that were actually Teutonic.
The Teutonic Knights.
Yeah, but, it's not like that weird sort of Hitlery thing.
No.
Genuine believers who came down and established their own protection for the pilgrims who would come through to Jerusalem to visit the holy sites. And, originally, before Islam took over the whole area, you could go down there as a pilgrim. It was very safe.
Yeah.
But as Islam began to take over, even back then, the Bedouins might have maybe, okay, you look like you're rich, I may see if I can steal something off you. But once Islam took over, it became very dangerous for those pilgrims, and those knights protected them.
Yeah. What most people aren't aware of, because we think of the Middle East, North Africa, and Turkey as historically Muslim lands. They've always been Muslim. No, they weren't. they were Christian from really the 4th century onward. And some of those even longer than that, but it was in the early 4th century when Constantine legalized Christianity, and then in the year 376 AD, it was the Emperor Theodosius, who was the emperor in the East, but he made Christianity the official religion of the Roman Empire. Now, from a theological perspective, that wasn't necessarily a good thing, because suddenly then you had all these people who wanted to become friends of the emperor, and becoming a powerful cleric or bishop gave you political power as well as, after it became legalized.
Yeah.
But that said, the point is that for Christians who wanted to make pilgrimage to Jerusalem from anywhere in Christendom, which at that point extended from Britain to, in the east, the edges of India, Afghanistan, there were Christian missionaries who reached as far as China. In
India?
The Apostle Thomas. We have a friend in India who lives in the area of where Thomas was martyred. And he has, shared some of the backstory there with us. And again, we don't know this history because it's not politically correct to teach it. But for Christians, it was safe to go to Jerusalem. And then when Islam burst out of Arabia, the last 10 years or so of Muhammad's life, between 622 and 632 AD, and this is in my book, Bad Moon Rising, and some of this is going to have to come into part 1 of the book I'm writing. I'm going to have to go back and recycle some of the history that I wrote.
Penny, it may be early January before.
Yeah, well, no, we'll get her done. We got a little time.
We got 2 weeks off.
Right. Anyway, around 622, Muhammad realized, Allah revealed to him that caravan raiding was a holy calling. And so they began raiding camel caravans, and suddenly he went from a following that was basically his extended family, maybe 100, 110 people, to conquering all of Arabia in the span of 10 years. Because what he did was suddenly create a super tribe. Arabs are a tribal culture. Even to this day, they're tribal. He created a super tribe. Join the tribe of Allah, and you can raid other camel caravans and keep their stuff and take their women. Or you can die. It's your choice.
Yep. And by the way, if you die in the service of, Allah, then you instantly, that sort of came out later.
Right.
This promise of virgins and all of these wonderful things.
Right.
If you died, shed your own blood for this deity.
Virgins
but if you
and
shed other
boys,
people's blood for the deity, then that's good too.
Exactly. It's
Bottom
all about
line
shedding
is-
blood
Yes.
in exchange for getting carnal pleasures.
Exactly. This is, this is Inanna,
Yes.
the war aspect of Inanna
Yep.
on steroids.
And the sexual aspect too.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're getting both sides of it.
Yeah.
You shedding blood, and then you get all the virgins you want.
Well, and also the way that, when these towns were raided, the young boys, the young girls, attractive young women, beautiful young men
Yep.
were all taken as prizes and put in seraglios, what we would call a harem. But they were taken captive and used and abused.
Yeah.
And everybody else was sent down to slavery of some kind.
Right.
If they were on a ship, then they put them in the galley.
And this began when, after Muhammad died, and there was a brief struggle for succession, in the year 634, the armies of Allah under the new caliph, was it Uthman, I think was his name. Anyway, the one who took over for Muhammad after his passing, led armies out, and between 634 and 638, they conquered all of the Levant. There was the famous battle in 636 at the Yarmouk River, which is the river that's the border between Syria and Jordan and empties into the Jordan River. The battle was against the armies of the Eastern Roman Empire, or the Byzantines. And after over 4 days, the armies of Islam won, and after that it was just, okay, there was no opposition. Damascus Aleppo, Antioch, Jerusalem. They all fell. They conquered Alexandria, Egypt. They went westward. Within 100 years of Muhammad's death, by the year 732, they'd conquered all of the Middle East, half of Turkey, and they were across the Gibraltar Strait into Spain. They'd conquered most of Spain.
And eventually, the Templars took refuge and took over the roads, what was left of them, and the Hospitallers.
Right. This was after the First and Second Crusades, and so you had then some limited Christian control over the Holy Land, but you still had Muslims in the hills and in areas around. I mean, basically, Jerusalem was held by Christians. You had the cities like Acre and Jaffa were held by Christians, but the roads in between were unsafe.
Oh, very unsafe. And there were 7 crusades that I know of. And my ancestor, Longshanks, Edward I, was in the 7th one, and that's why his daughter, Joan of Acre, who is my ancestor.
Yeah.
Was
born in Acre. Yeah. Well, the reason we bring all this up, and again, this is part of the book that I'm working on, War of the Watchers, which is essentially about the physical manifestation of the spiritual war for control of the land that God declared to be his. And what I need to make clear in the book, and I'll do this when I go through in the editing process, is that the God worshipped by the Muslims is not, Allah is not Yahweh.
No.
Allah is not Yahweh. Contrary to what you may have heard, read in the media, contrary to what Muslims themselves may believe, Allah is not Yahweh. It's a different entity. I believe it's the entity the Hebrews called Molech.
I do too.
Dagon. Or
Shemyaza.
Yeah. Right, Shemyaza of the Book of Enoch. In other words, he was the leader of the rebellion of the sons of God in Genesis chapter 6, who is now in Tartarus in chains. He believes that he should be sitting on the throne. He is the one who is referred to as Lucifer in Isaiah chapter 14. Well, his followers have been waging a long war against not just Christians and Jews, Hindus. There was a study I saw this past week, based on a mathematical model. If the Indians, people of India, had been allowed to grow their population at the same rate as the Chinese, rather than at the historical rate, which was affected by contact with Islam and the fact that their children were sold off into slavery and that they were often raided and killed by Islamic armies. There are something like 800 million fewer Indians today than there would have been if their population had grown at the same historical rate as the population of China. Is
it allowing for pandemics and things like that, big plagues that come in and take down populations?
Because they look at the historical growth of the people of China, which include pandemics, famines, wars. In the 19th century, there were tens of millions of Chinese who died in wars back and forth with each other.
Well, yes, and cholera and many other diseases. Oh, my goodness, those riders, you and I have been saying it for a long time, that the riders began in the 1st century and they sometimes really go crazy.
Yeah, and we wrote about that in Giants, Gods, and Dragons and how we wrote, the famines killed tens of millions in the 18th and 19th centuries in the Eastern world that we in the West are not familiar, because, again, we have not been taught history.
I know.
But there should be something like 2.2 billion people in India today instead of 1.4 billion because of Islam. So, yeah, Islam has had a negative impact on much of the rest of the world. In fact, the reason, and Raymond Ibrahim brought this up in one of his books, that the West is called the West is because that's all that was left of Christendom after the 7th century. Because Islam had conquered everything in the East.
What I find so frustrating about the historical aspect of religious wars is that there are certain kings, monarchs, leaders, whatever you want to call them at the time, of various European countries that chose to work out deals for economic and personal reasons.
Oh, sure.
Rather than stand up against it. And therefore, they wouldn't send any help to the Crusaders. They wouldn't help the Templars. They wouldn't help the Hospitallers. By the way, the St. John's Hospitallers, they were called that because their number one mission was to care for those who were wounded and hungry.
Right.
And their belief was that to minister to one another as we're called in the Gospels means that you do treat the other person the way you yourself would want to be treated.
Yeah.
And therefore, they treated their guests and their patients as if they were royalty. Mm. They ate off silver plates. Mm. They had the best linens. The Hospitallers slept on the floor.
Yeah. And the Templars, too, were sworn to a vow of poverty. And, you know, what most of us know of the Templars today, if we know anything,
right,
is based on the modern Freemasonic order that is essentially cosplaying as the Knights Templar.
They're LARPers. If you're wondering, Ibrahim's work comes from original sources in both English, French, German, Arabic.
Arabic, yeah.
He's going back to the histories that were written as close to the time period, some of them written by men who lived it.
Yeah. That's one of the things that really struck me, because I've read his two previous books. This is sort of the third in the trilogy. The previous books are Defenders of the West, where he tries to rehabilitate the image of some of those
he gives you the
Christian
true
kings,
story.
the true story of men like Richard the Lionheart.
Vlad the Impaler.
Vlad the Impaler, right. Some I'd never heard of, like John Hunyadi.
He was a big hero. And I'd never heard of him either before that, which is a shame because
and then in his the first of the three books, which is called Sword and Scimitar, which is a look at the most consequential battles between Islam and the West, like the Battle of Yarmouk, the Battle of Lepanto, which Avi Lipkin has written about. And he thinks the coming conflict with Turkey will be a second Battle of Lepanto.
I think that's very likely.
Yeah, where a much smaller Christian naval force destroyed the Ottoman Navy.
Well,
so Avi, who's also a historian, is looking at that. But anyway, when you read Raymond's books and you read the accounts of the Muslims and how they viewed the Christian kings that they were facing, or the Christian military leaders, one of them in Defenders of the West, Rodrigo of Spain, who is remembered as El Cid, which is basically Arabic, means the boss.
Yeah.
And the fact that the Spaniards, well, I mean, you read what they thought about these guys, and you see that what we have been taught about the Crusades is just not true. The Crusades was a response after 400 years of violent Islamic incursions into Christian lands and the enslavement and murder and rape of Christians from Mesopotamia to Europe, to Spain. It's like, why did it take 400 years for Christians to actually start mounting a response to liberate the Holy Land? But as you say, there were jealousies between European kings and leaders that prevented them from mounting a unified response. Even in 1683, when the Ottomans were at the gates of Vienna, and King Louis XIV of France was like, I don't really like
I don't like Leopold, so I'm just
Emperor Leopold, so I'll just let the Ottomans get. And it fell to the King of Poland, Jan Sobieski, to save Vienna. And in so doing, he really saved Western Europe, because if Vienna had fallen, there was nothing between him and France, Germany, and Italy.
Do you know that there is a big statue to Jan Sobieski that is to be erected? And it's like, okay, in Vienna.
Yeah.
And there are those in Vienna that, no, because it's not popular.
Well, yeah, in fact, I was telling you about that because Raymond Ibrahim talked about that in one of the videos he recently posted to his YouTube channel.
That's where I got it. Sorry about that.
And it's been 10 years where the Austrians have been delaying, making little changes to the specifications. Okay, it's a little too tall. It's not enough this. It needs to be more of that.
It's never going to go up because it's politically.
They finally said, no, we're just not going to do it because they're afraid of offending the Muslims that are now in Vienna.
Exactly.
And that the reason we're going through all this backstory is because just the other day, the Trump administration published its new national security strategy. Mm-hmm. And in it, they wrote this, and I quote, "The real and stark prospect of civilizational erasure," end quote, "because of unchecked immigration." They're warning Europe and saying, look, within 20 years, I'm quoting here, should present trends continue, the continent, meaning Europe, will be unrecognizable in 20 years or less, end quote. And this is because of unchecked, and what they're not saying, the quiet part is unchecked immigration from Islamic countries. Afghans, North Africans, Syrians, wherever. You're seeing that, just yesterday in Germany, there was another Christmas market where somebody drove a car into the crowd. Mm-hmm. It's reported as of this point 10 deaths, dozens injured. They didn't identify the ethnicity of the attacker, but I would be willing to bet $1, probably more than that actually, that it's not a person of European ethnicity.
No, because there's no value in that for a person of European ethnicity unless they have a grudge against someone who runs the market. No, these are attacks, pure and simple. They are attacks. Let me just say something that's connected, because we're talking about what you can and can't say about certain ethnicities in the EU, in Canada, in France, in here, in the U.S. Well, here in the U.S., I saw a story this morning that our wonderful president has made it clear that if you are from another country and you've been given a visa to come here in the U.S. and be a fact checker, you're now going to be encouraged quite a lot. Muscularly to go back to your home. You will not have your visa. It's going to be revoked, and it won't be granted anymore. If you are going to act as a fact checker, saying that things are disinfo or misinfo, and you're coming from outside this country to tell U.S. citizens what they can and can't say, that ain't happening.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure Trump said that's ate up in the head.
Or maybe that's just subtext, but
it could be.
We understood the meaning. Yeah, it is really interesting, though, that the U.S. is now openly saying, in fact, Secretary of State Marco Rubio talked about the threat posed by Islam to the West. The United States is waking up and remembering, hey, the very first war this country fought was against Muslims. Mm-hmm. The Barbary Pirates.
Exactly. Thomas
Jefferson and John Adams, upon meeting the ambassador from Tripoli in London, asking him, hey, what gives? We're, friendly to everybody who's done us no harm. Why are you attacking us? Oh, it's because our prophet tells us that we must attack unbelievers wherever we find them. Like, okay. Mm-hmm. So, the shores of Tripoli and the Marine hymn, that's where that came from. We had to send the Marines to Tripoli to make them stop enslaving American sailors.
That whole North African region that was essentially filled and populated by the Moors who were kicked out of Spain. Mm-hmm. They took over what we call Tunisia and Algeria and Tripoli.
Well, they were pushed back to North Africa because they had invaded.
Yes, I know. They were kicked out of Spain.
Right.
Because they had invaded, and they were finally kicked out in 1492. Well, they populated North Africa, and the Hospitallers paid calls to those locations and eventually took most of them over.
Oh.
This was
I haven't gotten that
before.
far in
Oh,
the Two
spoilers.
Swords of Christ.
Spoilers.
Yeah. Well.
Spoilers, yes. So lots of interesting things. We highly recommend you read those books. I think you'll find them fascinating.
It's a very timely book from Raymond, and I'm glad that this administration is waking up and, again, saying what needs to be said. Mm-hmm. Look, we are not having enough children as just the Northern Hemisphere as a whole. And by importing people from different cultures who don't want to assimilate, they don't want to assimilate, they want to dominate. That's the fact. And that's why Raymond's book is so, Raymond's previous books, he's written a book just about the Battle of Yarmouk too, which I want to read. Mm-hmm. But him and the works of Dr. Timothy Furnish.
Very
10 years captivation with the Mahdi's camps, and that's about Islamic eschatology. And then...
which most of us know nothing about.
Yes, and he's got his doctorate. His PhD is in Islamic eschatology. He's an expert in that. And his other book that I highly recommend is Sects, Lies, and Videotape.
Oh, Tim Furnish.
No, Sects, Live, and the Caliphate.
Yeah.
Dr. Timothy Furnish. So both of those,
so
plus...
SECTS.
Right.
Sects, Lies, and the Caliphate.
Tried to emphasize that very clearly. That will give you a very clear view of what Islam is all about. Mm-hmm. Yes, our Secretary of State Rubio this past week in talking about...
Did you hear Glory? Oh.
Yeah, we're about in an hour now, so the timer's right.
Timer is right.
Did talk about radical Islam, but as Tim Furnish has said, no, violent Islam is mainstream Islam.
It is.
Don't call it radical Islam, call it violent Islam, because that's going back to the way Muhammad taught it 1,400 years ago.
I think over time there are a lot of families and cities, even countries to a certain extent, that got to where they're not warlike anymore. We just want to live peacefully. And that happened for a while.
Yeah.
But now the old ways are coming back within Islam. And those of you who know someone who is Muslim and they're really nice. Well, we've known Muslim people that are really nice. We've met a lot of them on our tours that are really, really nice.
Yes.
But those really, really nice Muslims will be told you either do it this way or you become the enemy. Yeah.
That's the history of Islam. Mm-hmm. Look, there are 1.7 billion Muslims on earth, roughly, right now, about 2.3 billion Christians. But the number of Christians, demographically, is shrinking. And by 2070, according to the Pew Research Center, Islam will become the largest religion on earth. And it's mainly because they're having 4 and 5 children per woman, where we Christians, especially European Christians, are having less than 2.
Well, let's bookmark and try to talk about this a little bit more next week, because there's more about this that I want to discuss, and it has to do with the 5 months that the Abyss guys get. And it has to do with this. So we will bookmark this and try to remember. But what we have to also remember as citizens of these United States of America.
Or is it Amerigetted?
Oh, it's one of those.
Former President Biden.
That is our final story. Yeah. For whatever reason, he's still being trotted out, and he shouldn't be. It's elder abuse to put him out there.
It really is.
He's stumbling over his words, and sadly, that's his Bidenism of the week, is United States of America.
Yeah, I love the way this was headlined at nottheb.com. Warning, Biden just tried to pronounce United States of America. And it actually says, we need to remember, we're the United States of America. It's like, so we are very proud to be Amerigatitans.
Well, we were try to get it for a while, and now we've got it. So that's pretty good. Well, I also want to thank President Trump for releasing a much better White House Christmas video this year as opposed to the one we got last time with the dancing rainbow people.
Yeah. Wow. That
No, this year it's actual Christmas is back.
Yeah, President Trump in his first year, whether you like him or not, you've got to admit that he has done more, again, whether you like it or not, than Joe Biden did in his 4 years. But you can be argued that that's because Joe Biden was not aware of what was being signed in his name.
I know, and I am so grateful that President Trump will be in office during our 250th birthday of the United States of America.
Yes.
These United States of America.
United States.
That's how it should be.
Right, yeah. It changed after the Civil War from these to thee.
Because
anyway,
it's a collection of individual sovereign states.
That's correct, yeah. Well, Old People Report.
Yes.
This past
Let me
week,
let the dogs out, and then you can give the old people a report.
let the dogs out.
All right.
Yep.
You can woof along.
This past week was a week of testing and doctor's visits. Had 5 in the course of a week. And got a little more information about what's going on, but we're still not certain as to what all is happening. Had 2 CT scans. One pretty much confirmed that the stent that was inserted to correct my abdominal aneurysm a year ago, just about a year ago this time, actually 13 months ago, almost exactly, is holding. And no issues with it. In fact, they said that I don't need to go back until next year. And next year, in fact, instead of doing a CT scan, they may just have me do an ultrasound instead, rather than getting the contrast dye injected and all that. So that was good. The other CT scan was of my chest area to try to determine what's causing the elevated hemidiaphragm, which basically means my diaphragm on the left side is
Stuck.
It's paralyzed. So when I breathe in, if you hear me breathing heavily or stopping in the middle of sentences, it's because I'm only getting about 50 to 60% of the air I should be, because only my diaphragm is only working on the right side. Didn't really reveal any physical issues, which is good. Now, it did show enlarged liver, enlarged spleen. Mm-hmm. We need to figure that out, but that could be part of the autoimmune issue I'm dealing with. Mm-hmm. I've got another consult with the pulmonologist in a couple of weeks. Visited the neurologist on Wednesday. He's leaning towards the diagnosis of CIDP, which is chronic inflammatory demyelinating polyneuropathy, which essentially means my immune system is attacking the nerves in my extremities, my feet, my hands.
But at the same time, in order to determine if that's the likelihood, he has to rule out several other things that are very similar.
Right. So we're looking for antibodies that would suggest myasthenia gravis. Mm-hmm. Sjogren's ruled out.
Probably ruled out.
Didn't show any antibodies to that. Did show elevated antibodies to thyroid peroxidase, which means Hashimoto's could be part of this. So I've got to deal with that. Also revealed that my thyroid stimulating hormone levels are high, which means they need to juice up the amount of thyroid replacement I take. And what was the other deal? Oh, the pulmonary function test, where I had to blow into a tube repeatedly. Found that the lung capacity seems to be okay. They found that the what was it? The gas exchange it was somewhat
the
reduced.
O2 CO2 exchange.
So we need to figure out what's going on there. Very mild form of COPD, I guess. Many of you have been sending, suggestions on how to deal with COPD. I don't have the really severe kind that somebody who's been a lifelong smoker or exposed to toxic chemicals or anything like that.
Right.
It's probably just some minor lung damage just due to age and allergies and things. But it's complicated by the paralyzed hemidiaphragm. Yeah,
I think that you may have had some damage done when you were a child, and you had all of the mold that caused the asthma issues.
That could be.
You got some granulomas that are in your lungs and the alveoli, and that's essentially one of the components to COPD. But again, it's mild.
Yeah. So thankfully, it looks like the there are other things that might have caused the paralyzed hemidiaphragm, or things that were just physically in the way of the diaphragm on that side.
Well,
so the CT scan did not reveal anything.
Right.
Like that.
The phrenic nerve could be essentially demyelinated.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's the nerve that controls your diaphragm.
Yeah. So we will progress from there. The neurologist is suggesting infusions of immunoglobulin, and that is
crazy expensive.
Crazy expensive, but it's not the cost so much. I mean,
we're already paying off a big medical. Medical
surgery,
bills are
right.
really mounting up, but I don't care. God's going to help us to pay them some way, and all that matters to me is that we find out what's going on, and you get help.
Well, and I do the
you
same.
do the same for me. I know.
Yeah, exactly. So, if it is, but that is what it is. What it is, basically. We could put on a show. With Mickey Rooney.
That's right. Just
put on
need
a show.
to find a barn with a rotating
we got a barn.
stage.
Oh,
doesn't have a
not a very
stage.
big.
Doesn't rotate.
Doesn't have a stage.
No.
Anyway, but there are some issues with the IV. IG, intravenous immunoglobulin, which is that it only offers temporary relief, and then you've got to do it again every 3 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Forever.
It's about 3 to 4 days just to get over the whole thing, and then you get some relief and improvement for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then you got to go back and do it again.
Yeah. So, just to give you an idea of how expensive it is, our health center called and said, well, we can call the company that offers the infusion drugs and see if they can make available some free drugs.
Yeah, well, it's about $8,000 to $10,000 per month.
You're right, exactly. So,
and that's on top of all the other things that blood tests, that'll be $1,200. CT scan, that'll be $4,000.
Yeah.
It just, and I'm not saying this because I don't want you to feel sorry for us, because many of you are in the same boat.
Exactly.
I mean, my niece is dealing with the same kind of thing. She's got cancer, and she's trying to lengthen her life for her family.
Right. And see, that's the thing. That is the fundamental difference here. What I'm dealing with, even though it's frustrating because it's, again, it's affecting my fingers now. And by the way, if you've been watching 5 and 10 and you notice that, hey, Derek's not wearing a jacket anymore, he's just wearing T-shirts. Well, it's because there are no buttons on T-shirts because I'm losing fine motor skills. I can still type, but fine motor skills are affected. But that's a nuisance. It's not life-threatening. If I have to use speech to text to write, I will do that. What Sarah is undergoing, and by the way, if you go to our website, gilberthouse.org, we encourage you to click the link that says Hope for Sarah, because her bills, as she deals with stage 4 cancer, are astronomical.
Yep.
So she is somebody that we pray for and that we help.
Absolutely.
And again, my stuff is just a nuisance. It's not life-threatening.
And the other thing is that you're at an age where another year you'll be on Medicare.
Well, that's the thing. If we
those bills will be really reduced then.
Right.
Sarah's a long way from that.
She is a long way from that.
And many of you listening to this, you're dealing with it, and you're a long way from it.
Yeah, and even though she has health insurance, she has had to fight battle after battle with the insurance company over what they'll cover.
Plus, one of her paychecks, I kid you not, was $1.19.
Right.
Because she had missed so much work because of having to go for tests and treatments.
Yep.
So she's working.
Right.
But she's doing her best. She makes wreaths and other decorations, things like that. She's trying to find ways to bring income in for her family.
And we're blessed that we can work from home. So please, as we share this with you, it's just for transparency's sake. It is not for, woe is us.
Oh, no.
Not at all. In fact, I've had a couple of doctors now, both the neurologist and the pulmonologist, asking me, you seem to be handling this very well. Why are you not depressed? Because my best friend lifts me up every day. Sometimes physically when I try to turn too quickly and I hit the floor, which thankfully doesn't happen all that often. But, the Lord's allowing this for his reasons.
He is.
And God bless you. I know that some of you said, this is the enemy's attack. Well, yeah, it probably is.
It is, but the Lord's allowing it for his reasons. The Lord is allowing it because nothing gets to us that he doesn't allow. Exactly.
And if he's allowing it, it's not because we don't have faith. It's not because we're not praying for healing. It's not because we don't believe. It's because there's a lesson in all of this. And maybe, I still have to figure out what that is. As Sharon has said, maybe it's to get me to sit in this chair and actually focus on the research and the writing. And thankfully, that's been coming. This book that I'm working on, which I'll turn into manuscript for at the end of the month, War of the Washers, Sharon suggested as I was talking with her on the way to Springfield Monday for the first round.
One of the many tests.
Yeah, tests and whatnot. Not Monday, because Monday, our good friend Jeff Anderson took me for testing. Yeah, it was Tuesday or Wednesday, one of those days. I've got more stuff to fit. I don't know how I'm going to fit this all in and get this done by the end of the month. Split it into 2 books. What? Oh, yeah, genius.
Is that possible?
So I talked to Penny, who's the acquisitions editor for Defender, and she's like, I love it. Great. So we're going to split it into 2 parts. I can focus. I see where it's going now, and it's coming faster.
Yep. So
the focus and the writing is coming more quickly, and I'm really happy with what's coming out. And I think it's going to be. So I feel very passionately about this. There is a war for God's land and His holy mountain.
Amen.
And ultimately, we will be part of that.
Yeah.
And we will see it.
We will.
In our incorruptible forms when we are resurrected. We have been blessed to see it in the natural realm and to share our excitement and joy at being able to see this spiritual battleground, the Temple Mount, the places where Jesus walked, the place where he walked across the water, his base of ministry operations, Caesarea Philippi, where he said the gates of hell, which, by the way, is the cave right over here, will not prevail against his church. So we've been blessed to be able to do that. And as long as we're physically able, even if I have to, we have to get that portable golf cart.
We will go if the Lord wants us to go.
Right.
That's just how it goes. And so we still plan on trying to go next October. Go to gilberthouse.org/travel, and you will find all of the details there. Yep. They're sort of sketchy, yet we're trying to actually say, okay, we'd like to do this, this, and this. If for some reason the Lord says, no, that I don't want you to go, we're in talks with a number of people to substitute.
Yeah.
And they're people you would love. So we're not going to name any names yet because we haven't decided and they haven't decided. So, I hear a dog barking. Yeah. But anyway, please consider going to Israel, whether with us or someone else.
Yeah, the dates are reserved October 12th through 23rd of 2026. As of now, I mean, hey, if somebody has to cut my food and feed me, we'll be there.
We'll take care of that, honey.
Yeah. Or if I just live on, stuff I can, finger food, just, hummus and bread, I'll do that.
Ooh, I could do that.
Yeah. gilberthouse.org/travel. Tomorrow morning, the Gilbert House Fellowship will be back. And
there's one more thing we didn't talk about.
Oh?
The girls.
Oh, my goodness, yes. Speaking
that
of...
are now barking in the backyard.
Yeah. There is a wonderful family from
who will be here at 1 o'clock today.
Yeah. So just an hour from now, as we're recording this, they have raised flat-coated retrievers, which is Grace's breed, for 30 years. And in fact, we've known them now for more than 2 years. They were... Hi, girls.
Do you want to go out front?
We're just talking about you. Hi, Grace.
You want to go out front? It's too early for second lunch. Come on.
We are going to say goodbye to them in about an hour because my physical condition, which is not just my ability to keep balance, again, it's the fact that I'm losing the use of my fingers, losing the use of my hands.
And you barely can feel your feet.
Yeah. And the fact that because I've got the stent in the large artery of my left leg, I'm on Plavix, which means if I were to fall, whether it's with internal or external bleeding, clotting would become a problem. And that is a danger. We're at an age, both of us are at ages where we are not, it's not just my safety concerns, it's we are not in an age where we can give them the home that they deserve. They're both active dogs, very inquisitive, curious, intelligent dogs.
They need to be walked.
They need to be walked.
Because I can't walk them both at the same time.
Because
Grace
is
alone
very
pulls
strong.
me off my feet.
Right. She's very strong, 75 pounds and very, very strong. I can't walk them because of my balance. When we first got Grace 2 years ago, I was able to walk her around our property.
You and I used to take the dogs on walks together.
And she loved it because she was able to go out there and hunt for moles and voles.
But let me just say this. Yesterday, many of you know that Eileen Pilato has been taking care of them. When she boards them, she grooms them. She loves them like family. She would have taken them, but she has no room. She already fosters a bunch of dogs, has a tiny house, tiny yard, which really isn't fenced, and there's a railroad behind it. So that was out. But she loves them, as do a bunch of other ladies in Crane, Missouri. And when we went to pick them up yesterday, that back room was filled with about, 8 or 9 ladies who were all back there to say goodbye to Grace and Glory.
Wow.
And we'd missed 3 who'd been there and already left.
And Eileen literally cried when she said goodbye to them for the last time.
So these dogs have been well loved. They will be well loved.
Yes.
And we are very comfortable. We've known this family for over 10 years.
Yeah.
And they live in a beautiful home. And they will get lots of love. They've got 2 grown daughters that are coming with their mom today to pick them up. So those girls are going to have 3 women making over them like they're just the best thing ever.
And, it's going to be a wonderful situation. Their house has got a double lot fenced, so plenty of room for them to get out there and do zoomies, which Glory loves to do.
She will.
And so this is going to be a wonderful situation.
So thank you for praying that the girls would get the perfect home. They have gotten the perfect home.
Yep.
If we could have kept them and kept them safe and kept Derek safe, that would have been fine. But that's not the Lord's plan. And he brought in the perfect family for them. So thank you for your prayers.
In fact, they told us that their most recent dog, again, after 30 years of raising and breeding flat-coated retrievers, they had retired from the military and moved from the UK back here to the US. Their dog was named Windsor, which is perfect for a dog from the UK.
I know.
And he passed a few months ago. So they were looking for another dog, and lo and behold, they saw our call, saw what Grace looked very much like Windsor.
I know. She really has that flat coat look.
Yeah, it is a wonderful, the best possible scenario.
Yeah.
And so again, your prayers and your understanding are much appreciated. It will be a much quieter home here. We will miss their company.
I can try to do zoomies, but I don't know.
You and I, our zoomy days are long past.
My Zoom. The character played by Tim Conway on the Carol Burnett show.
Pops Mumbo.
That's me doing zoomies. That's my zoomie.
That's me. Period.
Oh gosh. Well, we better go, and we'll be back tomorrow morning with Gilbert House Fellowship.
Thank you for joining us, and until then, I'm Derek Gilbert.
I'm Sharon Gilbert, and for Grace and Glory, we love you. Bye-bye.
PID radio is on the air. Politics, prophecies, and conspiracy.